Hi, this is Kate. I've been having a discussion with my husband tonight, who's doing very well on a ketogenic diet, like I am. And, for all you people who are being very low carb, whether it's a low carb vegetarian, low carb paleo, or more low carb ketogenic in your diet lately, we have some questions for you. The basic question is it worth it to have fallout, to have metabolic fallout during the holidays or any other time? Is it worth it when there's stress eating? Is it worth it when there's just pressure from other people? And what did you call it, dear husband? You called it food for what?
No, are you living to eat or are you eating to live? That's the point of it. What is the point of this food? It's dangerous to use food for recreation, because then you set yourself up for a life of obesity, a life of diabetes, things like that. So that it's very complicated.
Or what about just feeling bad?
Yeah,
low energy, inflammation.
Exactly. So food is, it's nice to enjoy a good meal. It's nice to go out,
And there's some good meals you can really enjoy without hurting yourself.
Absolutely. And
right.
I think especially the ketogenic diet there's a lot of options going to any restaurant. You should be able to find something. But
and like my recent video on a decadent keto dessert, there are thousands and thousands of recipes that you can look up on the topic. But some are easy, some are hard to make, but there are thousands and thousands of main dishes and desserts that are available out there. Or snacks that you bring with you.
But if it takes every bit of your will to drive past the cupcake shop,
exactly,
you have a serious problem.
Or the apple pie, or the pumpkin pie, or the pecan pie that's made traditionally. We're not talking about the ketogenic versions that don't use all those carbs and sugars.
You go to a family get together, and your willpower is so destroyed by a little bit of social pressure because grandma made a pie. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, and grandma or your loved ones or your good friends, first of all, you should be able to have the freedom and the trust going back and forth to be able to tell them, look, I have metabolic and health issues, and this is how I need to eat right now. And they should understand. And if they don't understand, I would beg you to make them understand. And you had a funny comment about grandma's pie. If she's really old and doesn't understand why you don't want to eat her sugary pie.
If grandma's cognizant enough to make a pie, she should be able to understand. And if she's not, you really want to eat that pie anyway.
Yeah, what's in it? Like when my mother was old, she would give me food poisoning. It's kind of funny now.
Social pressure is really tough, and a lot of people cave into it because there's one thing they will die rather than be embarrassed. It's better to be embarrassed than to be sick.
That's right.
If you're just trying to drop a few pounds on keto and you're in good health or whatever, you want to just get into some skinny jeans. Yeah, this may be not a big deal for you. But if you're like me, who had a metabolic issue, that I was pre-diabetic, and I was in pretty poor health because of it, couldn't understand because I ate well. Otherwise, generally speaking, I ate organic.
Mostly organic, no processed foods.
But I couldn't.
Not even that high of carb.
I couldn't lose weight.
That's right. But there are answers.
Yeah, there
are two things you can do. When a gathering is at your house, you can serve food that you can eat and find the recipes, or like I did, just make them from scratch and create the recipes that everybody can eat. And when we do that, they always want to take it home. So there are ways to do it. If you must travel or you have to go out, of course it's going to be really hard to find a lot of organic, grass-fed, and animal foods, and all organic plant foods and so forth. But my goodness, you can certainly avoid the carbs. It's not that hard. So even though you might take in some processed food and some GMO food, that you can't help, or more or less can't help if it's on business, then at least you don't have to come home metabolically wrecked. What we're trying to do is help encourage you not to take 3 steps forward and then 4 or 5 steps back and then have to start all over again. And the other thing you can do, of course, when you go to other people's houses, is bring 1 or 2 dishes that are so incredible that you don't mind eating just or mostly them, and they don't mind because they taste it and they compliment you on it, and maybe the focus can be a lot more on that rather than what you're not eating. And, I've been wanting to say something about kids. For people who say, it's okay, they're kids, they're thin and they're athletic and they have the metabolism to handle it. Well, your metabolism and your low-level diseases that thrive on carbs and sugar, they don't come out of nowhere. And even Alzheimer's is supposed to start 20 years before symptoms. Diabetes or pre-diabetes starts way before symptoms. And so the people who think it's okay for their kids, and I'm not saying kids can't eat some carbs because they're certainly more fat adapted and able to go back and forth between burning fat and burning carbs just because they're young. Well, the thing is though, if they're completely winking at processed foods, GMO foods, and or real high carbs and sugars for their children, they're setting their children up to have a much greater difficulty later. The metabolism patterns are being set. The mental patterns are being set. The social patterns are being set. And I know that when kids are, not really little and they leave the house to either to go to school or to go to, other activities, I know you can't control what they eat, especially if you haven't controlled what they ate up to that point. But my goodness, who's the adult in the household? Who goes and buys the food? Do you ever find yourself buying food for them that is just really unhealthy? I really have some questions about that. Don't you? And I have one more thing to say about, the fantasy or the cravings of I can't wait to blow my diet on Thanksgiving, or I can't wait to blow my diet on Christmas, or I can't wait to blow my diet or have a feast day or cheat, on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. If your mind is there, if you're thinking those things, you're not fully fat adapted. And by going ahead and indulging in excess bad food, especially the carbs and the sugars, you're not helping yourself to get fat adapted to burn fat for fuel. It's just not helping. You're taking several steps backward. So my plea for you is why do it? Just not worth it. There's so many cool foods you can serve or bring with you. There are cool snacks you can serve or bring with you. I've made some recipes, I've put them up on my channel, but there are so many out there. Just so many. It just takes, a few clicks of the mouse and a little bit of time to, try it in your kitchen. So that's what we think. Right, husband?
That's right.
We think that's a better way to go.
Yeah.
Because life is precious.
Yeah.
Act like it.